Imagine this. A train is barreling down the tracks, and you can pull a lever to decide which direction it goes. There are 5 people tied up on the tracks of the direction the train is headed. And those people are Spandam, Stelly, Orochi, Treble, and St. Charlos. Now in the other direction, tied up on the tracks, is the director of the One Piece anime who decided to put all those flashback filler segments in the show, turning the pacing into hot garbage. Would you pull the lever?
Pull the lever, Kronk.
Well, for a lot of One Piece characters, this dilemma isn't just a thought experiment. Maybe the characters are a little different, but it's a defining moment that shapes their destiny. For all of the incoherent and unstated political philosophy throughout the show, there are very few examples of philosophical problems or principles that a Philosophy 101 student would be familiar with. Like, One Piece isn't The Good Place. It's not a show that's super direct with its use of traditional philosophy. But there is one philosophical issue that recurs throughout the series: the trolley problem. Characters like Robin and Odin have had moments where the fate of their country or the lives of their friends rest on their decisions. And we learn about who they are and what they value by those decisions. Are they morally wrong to allow the many to die? Or in the opposite case, are they responsible for the death of the few if they choose to do nothing? Specifically, the question is, when you're in control, is it wrong to change the impending future if it means your actions may cause harm to others? With One Piece, Oda is like a modern Aristotle, and he offers a few direct examples of solutions to the trolley problem through character arcs. So as a Philosophy 101 student myself, let's take to the seas of the Grand Line and finally answer the question of the trolley problem.
Uh-oh, Nicholas. This train is gonna crash into these 5 people. Should we move the train to go this way, or should we let it go that way? Which way should the train go?
This way. Uh-oh.
The first conductor of the One Piece world that I want to look at is Sengoku at Ohara. To really understand this, we have to put ourselves in the Buddha man's shoes and really look at this from his perspective. He knew that Ohara had learned too much, and he thought that they were a danger to the entire world order. The world's future was the trolley, and the knowledge of Ohara being known was on the tracks directly in front of him. In the other direction of the tracks was him ordering the Buster Call and the execution of all of the citizens of Ohara. The trolley was already set on the tracks of the scholars learning information that would destabilize the world, and Sengoku decided to pull the lever. As the viewer, we know that Sengoku obviously made the wrong decision, not just because of ethics, but because the secrets that Ohara uncovered will inevitably come to light. But this decision by Sengoku ultimately illuminates the burden of leadership and the difficult choices that leaders think they need to make to maintain order and security. Which leads us to the next Puffing Tom problem that we're going to take a look at in the One Piece world. The next stop is Wano, because Odin's trolley problem was also kind of a decision of leadership. When Odin returned to Wano, the country was controlled by tyrants, Orochi and Kaido, and Odin faced a choice. These tyrants were the trolley barreling down the tracks, and on the tracks directly ahead were the citizens of Wano being held hostage. And in the other direction of the tracks was a promise where Odin would offer his own personal humiliation. He could fight and risk the lives of those in Wano, or choose to pull the lever and dance naked in public, and then the tyrant said everyone would be free. Now, we all know that the promise that Odin fulfilled was hollow. The promise would always be broken and always lead to tragedy. It would lead to Odin's death and the continued enslavement of the people of Wano. Odin made a choice. He chose the side with the least casualties. He chose to change the direction of the train. He chose to not risk the lives of many and instead put his own pride on the line. Ultimately, this was the wrong choice. While it was morally commendable and in so many ways heroic, it was also naive. Had Odin chose to fight right when he arrived home, he likely would have won. He chose not to take that risk, and he chose wrong. Because had he let the train barrel down that path, the path it was on from the moment that he left Wano, Kaido likely would have found his death years prior to our current story. But like Sengoku, Odin pulled the lever. And after looking at these two examples, it seems like a precedent is set for the trolley problem in One Piece. It's wrong to pull the lever. But when it comes to levers, context is everything, because like Sengoku and Oden, our dear Straw Hat Nico Robin faced the ultimate and I think most telling trolley problem in all of One Piece. This is a situation with so many layers to it, so far beyond just the decision of if she wants to live or not. The world government was always out to get her, and they eventually caught up to her in Water 7. And in this situation, the world government was the trolley, fixed on a track that would kill Robin and potentially doom the whole future of the world. She could either accept her own demise or point that future at her crewmates. We know that in what's likely my favorite scene in the series, Robin chose to pull the lever, which, if you're keeping score at home, is 3 instances of One Piece characters pulling the lever. But the trolley problem isn't simple like that. It's not always as easy as choosing more death or less death. Like, I know I'm a broken record in saying context is everything. The answer to the trolley problem that Oda is giving us isn't that you should pull the lever or you should leave it. It's just not that easy. There's a reason why this is a philosophical question that's persisted as an example of ethical choice for decades and decades. And what One Piece says isn't that we should act in a specific way when we're presented with a trolley problem. What it actually says is that you should choose the path where you fight the trolley, where you entirely reject the premise of this problem. Because why not save everyone?
Uh-oh, Nora. This train is gonna crash into these 5 people. Should we move the train to go this way? Or should we let the train go that way? Which way should the train go?
That
Show me.
Okay. Wait, I'm gonna move this right there.
Okay.
Oden should have never accepted the trolley problem those tyrants laid out in the first place. When he was given the option between the death of the citizens and his own humiliation, he should have said no and fought. And in the same way, Sengoku shouldn't have just accepted his future. Like, I know hindsight's 2020, but we know that he was wrong to think that he could prevent destiny just by committing one little genocide. Mainly because of Robin, who escaped Ohara and ensured that his decision would be pointless when she said she wanted to live, when she chose her own solution to the trolley problem. Even though in that moment, it was like the trolley was either headed at her or the Straw Hats, she didn't choose for her crewmates to die when she pulled that lever. Not at all. When she chose to pull that lever, she chose to stop the trolley. Because maybe it was a moment of delusion or faith in Luffy, but she knew that by changing the trolley's trajectory, she could reject the premise of the problem. And I think that's what One Piece is urging us to realize. No one has to die. The person in control of the lever realizes that the only solution is to fight our only real enemy. The only enemy actually forcing harm, and the only enemy we've had this entire time. The trolley.